Thanks for watching the John Mendola Show. We are driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. We're talking Wyoming Valley West football. Joining us is the head coach, Pat Keating. Well, Pat, you have to be pretty pleased with your team so far after 6 weeks of the season. Tell us about last weekend's game against Stroudsburg.
Well, I was very pleased with the way that our kids played, from a start to finish standpoint on Friday night. That's a very good Stroudsburg team, obviously coming in. They were 4-1 at the time, and we were 4-1. They had a great defense throughout the first half of the season. I was very pleased with us offensively, being able to put up 42 points on the board. One of those touchdowns being a defensive touchdown for us, an interception return, but very pleased offensively against, a real stingy defense.
Pat, going into that game, looking at those linebackers from Stroudsburg, I never saw a team that was quad A that had 4 linebackers that are at about 150 or 160 pounds. So those guys flew around a lot, but if you got a big body on them, if that's possible, sometimes those guys are slippery to block.
Yeah, one thing, we emphasized all week last week was the fact that they could run. We wanted to be able to, at certain times just get our bigger bodies on them. And our guys up front, did a good job of that. Really, what the whole, scheme of things came down to, which it does a lot of times, was, we knew the team that was going to win the line of scrimmage on Friday night on both sides of the ball was really going to be the team that won the game. And, thankfully for us, I think we were able to accomplish that on both sides of the ball.
Pat, how pleased are you with Mike Bauer? He gets a lot of accolades. He's a humble kid, a quiet kid. He handles the pressure pretty well, and I know he gets nervous before games, just like any young man who straps it on and gets ready to hit the football field each and every Friday night. But he seems to get the job done when he's called upon.
Yeah, he's as gritty a kid as I've ever been around. He is a tremendous kid. He's super smart, a very intelligent kid. He's a very tough kid. He's always willing to learn, and he's an extremely hard worker. And all those intangibles really, transfer over to the field on a Friday night. He's the type of kid that, no matter what the score is, no matter what the situation is, he's always going to try to keep a level head, and he's always going to try to fight and do whatever he can to help the team be successful.
We're talking with Pat Keating, the Wyoming Valley West football coach here on the John Mendola Show. We are driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. Pat, if you had to kind of mention maybe the blue-collar type mentality guys on your team this year that have shown up after 6 weeks and really kind of punched their ticket, they're the time clock is going all the time for these guys. Who would be a few of those guys this year that have stepped up?
It's really hard for me to just single out a few because I have such a great group of kids that have really devoted themselves, really from the end of when last season got over, throughout the off season. It would definitely start, with guys up front, guys like Matt Dabaskis and John Strish and, Jared Kozik and Josh Brody, and AJ Iorio and Alex Barilla, they're really guys that, have really done a great job for us up front on the defensive side of the ball. When you throw in, Chris Reese, and we've really, Jamar Taylor's really come on for us as of late, causing a lot of havoc in backfield for us. And then, I'm very pleased with, a lot of the guys that, are perimeter players, Michael Sands kids and, Erica Costa and Sean Judge and Troy Yashinsky, they're all very unselfish kids. I couldn't, go unnoticed with, our fullback / inside linebackers with Billy Davison and Jeremy Kozik. Just a bunch of really unselfish kids. They all just want the team to do well, and they're willing to contribute any way possible. So, we talk about a couple blue-collar kids. I kind of feel like our whole team is blue-collar because nobody's really looking for spotlight. They just want to win football games, and it's really, it's a pleasure to coach a bunch of kids like that.
The Spartans are playing good football right now. Wyoming Valley West out to a 5-1 start as we get ready for the next week here in northeastern Pennsylvania. Pat, you mentioned all those guys. The one guy I'd like to see when he played this year against Dallas to open up was the running back, Eric Costa, a kid that comes in and kind of a shifty player and a little deceiving to people. And he's got those shifty legs. It's paid off for him, and obviously paying off for the Spartans to have that running game going.
Yeah, he's a very hard worker. He's another kid that's put in a lot of time. Thankfully for us, he's only a junior, which I think he's got a really bright future. He's just he's the type of kid that he's shifty, like you said. He's very elusive in between the tackles, but he's got speed and even for his size, he's got a little bit of a power element. Where some guys see his small size there, and they try to come up and tackle him. He's the type of kid that try to run, lower his shoulder and run you over at the same time. So he's got a lot of different intangibles that you always ask for in a running back. A very, very good kid.
4 weeks to go in the regular season. Coach, last year we talked Eastern Conference and the way things happen for the Spartans of Wyoming Valley West, very dramatic and very positive for your team. And those 2 extra games, I think was a great shot in the arm to start this year for this program.
Yeah. It's definitely something that propelled us into the off season. I think it's something that we were able to definitely build some confidence on. It was the first time, for our school that we were able to go down and, they came to us, but to beat, not just one team, but 2 teams from the Lehigh Valley. It's always tough playing those guys down there. They kind of, outsize us a little bit. We're kind of like the David to their Goliath. And, our kids, have really built some confidence on that. And I think that, because of the nature of the games last year, we're hoping that with the amount of kids that we had in those type of games last year, in those close type of playoff games and playoff atmospheres this year, some of that experience will work to our favor, and hopefully be able to get, another, couple postseason wins again this year.
We're talking with Pat Keating from Wyoming Valley West here on the John Mendola Show, driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. Coach, you mentioned District 11, and of course, when the playoffs come around, if Wyoming Valley West continues to do what you guys do week in and week out, you should find yourself in the playoffs. I know that's a little bit of ways away, but, competing with District 11 is going to be the challenge, whether it's Wyoming Valley West or Scranton or Delaware Valley. And hopefully, I'm sure you want to like your chances at this point after playing a District 11 team in Stroudsburg and knowing they're a pretty good quality team. But there's some darn good District 11 teams out of the Lehigh Valley as normal. It's just the way it goes. But you would think that you should be able to compete again, as you mentioned, with that experience from last year and beating a team like Stroudsburg.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we hope for, and we're hoping that it can happen for us this year. Definitely a conference builder there with Stroudsburg. But when you look at District 11 and the Lehigh Valley teams in particular, it's really, just a tremendous conference from top to bottom. And you never know on a weekly basis who's going to beat who. At one point early in the season, you thought that, Parkland was invincible, and then they get shut out by Easton. And then a couple weeks later, then you're thinking Easton's a team, and then they get beat by Emmaus. And, it's just it's a league that on any given day, one team can beat the other team. They're just very talented. So when you go up against those teams, they're very well coached. They're big schools, they're deep, and they have a lot of talented football, players on those teams. So, you definitely have to, bring your A game. You have to be ready mentally and physically in order to beat those teams.
Well, I saw the same thing that you were seeing this year with the Parkland, of course, like you mentioned, with Easton and then Emmaus. So I saw basically the same stuff that you saw. I haven't seen the teams in person, but kind of just reading the newspapers and seeing what's going on down in the Lehigh Valley. Of course, you got to take care of business here in the Wyoming Valley Conference the next 4 weeks, but I'm sure the guys will continue to work hard and we'll get positive results for the Wyoming Valley West Spartans. Pat, thank you for taking some time out here and joining us here on the John Mendola Show. Best of luck the rest of the year.
Thank you, John.